Robert Smalls, the man who stole a Confederate ship to win his freedom. Imagine this. It's the middle of the night in Charleston Harbor, South Carolina. The year is 1862. The U.S. Civil War is raging. A Confederate transport ship sits quietly in the dark. But on this night, it's not Confederate officers at the helm. It's an enslaved man named Robert Smalls. Robert knows this is his only chance. He's about to sail a Confederate ship, packed with ammunition, past armed Confederate checkpoints, straight into Union hands. One wrong signal could mean death for him, his crew, and his family. But if he succeeds, he wins their freedom. This is the extraordinary true story of Robert Smalls. Early life. Robert Smalls was born in 1839 in Beaufort, South Carolina. He was enslaved at birth. As a child, he watched the ships move in and out of Charleston Harbor. He was smart, curious, and bold. He was forced to work for others, but he paid attention. He learned the harbor, the tides, the sounds of the whistles, the language of flags. Every night, he dreamed of something that seemed impossible: freedom. As a young man, he married a woman named Hannah Jones. With their owner's permission, they moved in together and had 2 children, Elizabeth and Robert Jr. Smalls saved money and attempted to buy the freedom of his new family, but Hannah's owner demanded $800 for her freedom. Robert knew as long as he and his family were in chains, they could not be sure of a future together, and it would have taken him years to save enough money. Smalls promised his wife they would one day escape from slavery. Robert knew that if he ever wanted his children to grow up free, he'd have to do something daring, something dangerous: the planter. When the Civil War began, Robert was forced to work on a Confederate transport ship called the Planter. The ship was used to move guns, ammunition, and supplies to Confederate forts. What the Confederates didn't realize is that they were training the very man who would one day outsmart them. Robert learned every inch of that ship. He knew how to pilot it. He studied the captain's routine, the timing of the harbor patrols, and the signals needed to pass Confederate checkpoints. Quietly, secretly, a plan began to form in his mind. The plan. Robert shared his plan with a small group of trusted black crew members. The idea was simple, but the risk was enormous. They would wait until the white officers left the ship for the night. They'd take the Planter, sail it past Confederate guards, pick up their families waiting nearby, and head straight to Union lines. If they were caught, they wouldn't just be punished, they'd be executed. But Robert told them, "I would rather die than live as a slave." On the night of May 12, 1862, everything was set in motion. The escape. As the white officers stepped off the ship, Robert put on the captain's uniform and hat. At 3 a.m., the ship slowly pulled away from the dock. The harbor was quiet, but Confederate checkpoints lined the way. At each stop, Robert gave the exact whistle and flag signals the Confederate guards expected to see. He kept his face low in the captain's hat, and the guards waved him through. They picked up their wives, children, and friends at a secret dock. There was no turning back now. Freedom. As the sun began to rise, the Planter approached Union lines. Union soldiers on deck raised their weapons. They saw a Confederate ship speeding toward them. Then Robert raised a white bedsheet as a flag of surrender. He handed the ship over with all its guns, ammunition, and secret Confederate codes. Robert Smalls had done the unthinkable. He had stolen a Confederate ship and delivered it to the Union, gaining freedom for himself, his family, and his crew. Legacy. Robert Smalls didn't stop there. He became a Union naval pilot. Later, he commanded the Planter himself. After the war, he entered politics, serving 5 terms in the U.S. Congress. He bought the home where he had once been enslaved and made it his own. Robert Smalls died of malaria and diabetes in 1915. He had witnessed slavery, emancipation, the right of African American men to vote and serve in the ranks of the U.S. government. He died as the South worked to recreate slavery through the Black Codes and Jim Crow laws. Despite this, Smalls refused to engage in pessimism, telling the South Carolina legislature, "My race needs no special defense, for the past history of them in this country proves them to be the equal of any people anywhere. All they need is an equal chance in the battle of life." Robert Smalls proved that courage and intelligence could overcome even the strongest chains. His story is a reminder. Real heroes don't wait for permission to change history. This was the night one man outsmarted an entire army and won his freedom.